Hi everybody. So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about just your homework and go over the even questions with you guys. I know there weren't a lot of evens on your homework from this chapter. I tried to avoid the evens, but once again, I wanted to go over those and then just give you guys a few like tips and tricks and stuff. But once again, I want to remind you that these like summary pages are super helpful. Just in general to help you recap all of the important pieces of information from each section. They are a little bit wordy, but it's just a good reminder, like the expected value is the same as the mean, etc., etc. And then you guys had numbers 1, 3, and 9, which hopefully you guys were able to see in the back of the book. But then number 18 was an even that I asked you guys to do. So even, or the first even number was number 18, and I wanted to show you guys that one. That one was about life insurance. So part A, it says, even though the company will lose a large amount of money on a small number of policyholders who will die, it will gain a small amount from the many thousands of 21-year-old men. Because they insure so many men, they can expect to actually make $303 per insurance policy on average. And then that standard deviation, remember you take the square root of the variance, which is there, and you get 9,700. It's a pretty big standard deviation actually, right? Which means they are at a pretty good risk of losing money, right? So if their mean is 300, but their standard deviation is over 9,000, I mean, that's pretty risky. But yeah, and you can actually calculate once you have standard deviation, you can calculate that. But once again, you were supposed to use number 14 in your calculator to help you with that one. But anyway, you will have to calculate standard deviation by hand on your test, so that's a good thing to practice with that table. The next even that you guys had was number 28. So that one, if you were looking at, was a multiple choice. Your multiple choice answers should have been BB and then CC. So once again, multiple choice, oops, wrong way. Multiple choice answers should have been BB and then CC. Number 28 was the question that was about standard deviation interpretation, which is important. So it'll ask you to calculate and interpret standard deviation on your test. And then number 30 was talking about a deck of cards. You win $10 if you draw an ace, otherwise you lose $1. You can find the expected value by taking the probability of each event times the X value, so the amount of money, and you had to find the correct answer, which should have been C, so you lose 15 cents on average per time that you play. Next up, we move on to section 6.2, transforming random variables, and I think the next even that we have is 40, number 40. So number 40, oh yeah, was talking about the mean of G. So if you look at, it says you were supposed to do 39, 40, and 41. So if you look at the distributions for 39, 40, and 41, they give you like computer output. I don't know if you can see that in that lower corner. You have that computer output, right? Oh, it's really hard to show. So you have this computer output, right? You have the max, min, quartile, standard deviation, mean, and median. For that distribution, it says find the median of G, show your method. And then it says find the IQR of G, show your method. It says the median, if you were transforming, for number 40, the median of G is a measure of center, so it gets both multiplied and added to become 92.5. For IQR, that's a measure of spread, which means you are only going to be multiplying. So remember, measures of center, you can do both, but measures of spread, you can only multiply. And then when you're talking about the shape, it really doesn't change much, usually with transformations. So that was number 40. The next even was number 66. And that was a multiple choice question. You should have gotten D for 66. And then just finding the standard deviation. hopefully that wasn't too bad. You use the formula that we had in your notes under the big ideas there. You can also find that formula on your formula sheet, right? Or if you don't remember the formula, they have the formula written on your paper, and all sorts of fun transformations and stuff. So once again, a lot of this stuff shouldn't be too big of a surprise. And then I don't think there were any evens in section, oh yeah, the very last thing, 413. Very last set of homework, 102 and 104. So the multiple choice. You will see a question sort of like 102 where you have to find the probability, the correct notation. You should have gotten C for that one, but I want to remind you again what that looks like. You will have to use the appropriate like handwritten probability notation. Once again, 102 should have had an answer of C. And then 104, that question was talking about table D. And then it says if many lines of random digits are selected, the mean and standard deviation of the number of zeros, blah, blah, blah. And then, once again, if you have 40 random lines, the number of zeros, you'd have to multiply the probability times the x value to get your mean. So your mean should have changed by, like, to become 4, and then your standard deviation should also have changed, right? So your standard deviation, you would have to multiply by 4 as well. Okay. Anyway, that's all I got for you.